Three black Escalades roll into the sleepy town of Santa Rosa, New Mexico. Their target, a small saloon called The Last Stand, and its owner, Catherine Martinez. Their plan, a simple intimidation job to force her to sell the property that's blocking their smuggling route. Their fatal mistake? Not realizing that the woman they're threatening has 20 years of CIA covert operations experience, over 30 successful deep-cover missions in cartel territories, and was once known as La Fantasma by the intelligence community. By sunrise tomorrow, 5 cartel enforcers will be in federal custody. An international trafficking network will begin to unravel, and the largest drug corridor in New Mexico will be permanently shut down. All because they made one critical error. In judgment, they saw Catherine Martinez as just another small-town business owner. Before we jump back in, tell us where you're tuning in from. And if this story touches you, make sure you're subscribed, because tomorrow I've saved something extra special for you. The morning sun crawls across Santa Rosa's main street, casting long shadows between adobe buildings that have stood for generations. Catherine Martinez unlocks the heavy wooden doors of the Last Stand Saloon, her daily routine unchanged since purchasing the establishment 3 years ago. Her movements are precise, economical, habits forged through years of operational discipline that refuse to fade. Inside, the saloon holds the comfortable warmth of well-worn wood and leather, but Catherine's trained eyes never stop scanning. The mirrors behind the bar provide clear sightlines to all entrances. The vintage Winchester mounted above the bottles isn't just decoration. The heavy oak bar itself is reinforced with steel plating, a renovation she quietly completed her first month of ownership. Another early start, Cat. Officer Mike Ramirez calls from his patrol car as he passes by. Catherine waves, her smile genuine but measured. Local law enforcement has become an unwitting part of her security network, their regular patrols adding another layer of surveillance she monitors carefully. She begins her morning inventory, but her mind catalogues more than just liquor stocks. 3 new faces in town yesterday, driving vehicles with Chihuahua plates. A suspicious pattern of phone calls to her landline hanging up after one ring. The bartender at the Route 66 casino mentioning unusual questions about her business. Maria, her head waitress, arrives for the morning shift. "Those men were back again last night," she reports, hanging up her coat. After closing, just sitting in their car across the street. Catherine nods, adding this detail to her mental assessment. The cartel's surveillance is getting bolder, their patience wearing thin. To the residents of Santa Rosa, Catherine Martinez is a successful business owner who transformed a struggling saloon into the town's favorite gathering spot. Her cover story is detailed but unremarkable. A former restaurant manager from Albuquerque looking for a quieter life after a divorce. The kind of background that invites sympathy but deflects deeper questions. Only a secure server in Langley holds the truth. 20 years in the CIA's Special Activities Division, specializing in cartel infiltration and disruption. Field experience across Latin America, including 3 years deep undercover within the Sinaloa organization. An asset list that helped dismantle trafficking operations across 4 countries. The kind of resume that makes hardened operators whisper her codename. With respect, La Fantasma, the ghost. The saloon wasn't a random choice. Santa Rosa sits at a crucial intersection of cartel smuggling routes. The Last Stand's location provides perfect surveillance of traffic patterns along Route 66. When Catherine retired 3 years ago, it was with a specific mission: monitor cartel movements and protect this strategic checkpoint. The morning progresses quietly. Regular customers filter in for coffee and breakfast. Local ranchers discuss cattle prices at the bar. Tourist families stop for lunch on their way to Vegas. Catherine moves through it all with practiced ease, the perfect picture of a small-town business owner. But her situational awareness never wavers. A whispered conversation in rapid Spanish between unfamiliar patrons catches her attention. The slight bulge of concealed weapons under their jackets, the way they study the saloon's layout while pretending to watch the ancient TV above the bar. Her instincts, honed through countless operations, signal the approach of conflict. "Everything okay, boss?" Tom, her bouncer, asks quietly. He's ex-military, carefully selected for his background. Catherine gives him a subtle hand signal. Be alert, but maintain normal routine. Another skill carried over from her operative days, building a staff that can handle unexpected situations. Through the front windows, she spots one of the black Escalades cruising past, moving too slowly to be casual traffic. The cartel's patience is running out. Soon they'll make their move, expecting to find an easy target. Instead, they'll discover that some retirements are more active than others, and some small-town saloon owners are anything but ordinary. As the sun climbs higher over Santa Rosa, Catherine Martinez continues her preparations. Years of intelligence work taught her to recognize the signs. A storm is coming to the Last Stand Saloon, and its owner is quietly ready to remind some cartel enforcers why operatives like her earn their legendary reputations. Catherine Martinez's morning routine at the Last Stand includes one ritual her. Customers never notice. Every day, she steps into her office, ostensibly to review invoices, and activates a secure satellite uplink hidden within a modified coffee maker. The communication system, disguised as ordinary kitchen equipment, connects to a classified network that even most CIA field agents don't know exists. Today's encrypted message is brief but significant. Package movement increased 300% along Route 66. Verify status of local operations. Catherine's fingers move across the hidden keypad, muscle memory from thousands of similar communications during her active service. Her response is equally concise. Surveillance noted. Possible pressure point activation imminent. The exchange takes less than 30 seconds, but it confirms her suspicions. The cartel's recent interest in her saloon isn't random. They're expanding their smuggling operation, and the Last Stand's strategic location has become a liability they can't ignore. 20 years ago, Catherine Martinez was known by a different name within the CIA's Special Activities Division. Her personnel file, accessible to only the highest clearance levels, reads like a Hollywood thriller. Recruited straight from Harvard Business School, where her fluency in 5 languages and exceptional analytical skills caught the agency's attention. Specialized training in advanced tactical operations, deep cover infiltration, and psychological warfare, a natural talent for becoming whoever the mission required. Her first major operation set the tone for her career. Posing as a financial consultant in Mexico City, she spent 18 months infiltrating the banking network of a major cartel. The intelligence she gathered led to the seizure of over $300 million in illegal assets and the arrest of 12 high-ranking cartel members. More importantly, it established her reputation for patience, precision, and the ability to hide in plain sight. Through the saloon's security cameras, Catherine watches 2 men enter, the same ones who've been conducting surveillance all week. Their attempt at casual conversation with Maria is practiced but reveals their military training to her experienced eye. The way they maintain sightlines to all exits, the subtle hand signals between them. She estimates cartel enforcement squad, probably former Mexican special forces. The memory surfaces unbidden. Culiacan, 2015. Another cartel enforcement team, another small business being pressured. But that time, Catherine was deep undercover, forced to watch as legitimate owners were intimidated into selling. The experience shaped her current mission, Some retirements are about more than just stepping away from service. Officer Ramirez returns for his afternoon patrol, right on schedule. Catherine has quietly cultivated relationships with local law enforcement, building a network of unofficial allies. They don't know her background, but they respect how she's transformed the last stand into a stabilizing presence in the community. The Saloon hosts fundraisers for the Police Benevolent Association, sponsors local youth sports teams, provides a gathering place for families. "Those guys are back," Tom mutters as he passes behind the bar, nodding toward the two men. Catherine gives him a reassuring smile, but her mind is already gaming out scenarios. The office contains a hidden armory, specially modified weapons that can't be traced. The basement has 3 separate escape routes, carefully constructed. During renovations, every member of her staff has military or law enforcement background, hired through a security contractor that doesn't exist on paper. Maria approaches with another update. "They're asking questions about the property deed, boss, trying to find out if you're interested in selling." Catherine nods, maintaining her cover as a concerned but unafraid business owner. Inside, she's calculating. The cartel's standard approach is 3 steps: surveillance, intimidation, force. They're transitioning from phase 1 to phase 2. Through the front window, she spots another black Escalade cruising past. Different plates from yesterday, but the same model favored by cartel operations. Her satellite communication system quietly logs the vehicle details, adding to the intelligence file building in a secure server somewhere in Virginia. The afternoon sun slants through the last stand's windows, casting long shadows across the worn wooden floor. Catherine moves through her regular duties, serving drinks, chatting with customers, maintaining the image of a normal small-town business owner. But beneath this careful facade, 2 decades of operational experience are at work. She's already identified 3 potential cartel surveillance points with clear views of the saloon. Her staff has been subtly shifting their routines, implementing security protocols practiced during late-night training sessions. The regular customers, many of them retired military or law enforcement, have unconsciously adopted protective positions. At strategic points throughout the bar, a text arrives from an unlisted number, confirms status of protective measures. Another remnant of her CIA days, handlers who never really stop handling. Her response is coded but clear. Asset secure, countermeasures in place. 20 years of covert operations taught Catherine the value of preparation. The cartel thinks they're dealing with a simple business owner. Soon they'll learn why her codename, La Fantasma, still circulates in intelligence briefings. As the afternoon fades toward evening, Catherine Martinez continues her careful performance as just another small-town success story. But beneath this carefully constructed persona, decades of tactical experience are shifting into operational mode. The storm gathering around the Last Stand Saloon is about to meet a force it never expected, and a quiet retirement is about to become anything but peaceful. Preparing and narrating this story took us a lot of time, so if you are enjoying it, subscribe to our channel. It means a lot to us. Now back to the story. The Last Stand's evening crowd is building when Catherine notices the subtle shift in atmosphere. Her years of operational experience recognize the telltale signs of an impending confrontation. 3 men enter, different from the surveillance team, but with the same cartel enforcement training evident in their movements. They choose a table with clear sightlines to both the bar and the office. Their drink orders are minimal, their attention focused on studying the saloon's layout. Catherine continues wiping glasses behind the bar, her movements deliberate and unhurried. To anyone watching, she appears focused on her task. In reality, she's conducting a comprehensive threat assessment. The slight bulge under the leader's jacket suggests a compact submachine gun, probably an MP5K. The other 2 carry smaller firearms, likely Glock 19s. Their positioning indicates standard cartel intimidation formation: 1 to deliver the message, 2 to provide coverage. "Evening, Miss Martinez." The leader approaches the bar, his English carrying a slight Sinaloa accent. "My associates and I would like to discuss a business opportunity." His smile doesn't reach his eyes. A detail Catherine's training immediately catalogues. She's seen that expression before in dozens of operations across Latin America. It's the look of someone who expects fear but hasn't yet realized they're the ones who should be worried. "I'm always happy to discuss business," Catherine responds, maintaining her cover as she activates a hidden recording system with a subtle movement, though I usually prefer to do so during regular business hours. Her tone is professional but firm, the voice of a confident business owner, not an operative assessing multiple threat scenarios. The man's smile tightens slightly. "Some opportunities are time-sensitive, Miss Martinez. Perhaps we could speak. In your office?" Behind him, his associates shift positions, trying to create subtle pressure through body language. It's a technique Catherine herself taught to CIA field operatives during her years as a training officer. 20 years of covert operations have taught Catherine to recognize pivotal moments. This conversation isn't just about intimidation, it's intelligence gathering. The cartel wants to assess her reactions, gauge her vulnerabilities. She learned this lesson in Tehran 2008, watching similar tactics employed by state security forces against local businesses. "I appreciate the offer," she replies, her demeanor remaining calm and professional, "but I have a policy about private meetings after hours." She notes how the leader's hand twitches slightly, a tell she's documented in numerous cartel enforcers when their initial approach fails. Through the bar's mirrors, she spots Tom and 2 other staff members moving into defensive positions, following protocols practiced during countless late-night drills. The leader leans forward, his friendly facade slipping. "Miss Martinez, I don't think you understand the opportunity we're presenting." His voice drops, meant to be menacing. "Some offers shouldn't be refused." Catherine maintains eye contact, her expression neutral. Inside, she's calculating distances, angles, potential weapons within reach. The heavy glass in her hand could become a projectile in 0.3 seconds. The bar's brass footrail conceals a panic button. The vintage cash register hides a sophisticated alert system. "I understand perfectly," she responds, her tone still professional but carrying an edge that makes the leader blink. It's the voice she used during operations in Bogotá, when cartel lieutenants discovered too late they were dealing with more than a simple business consultant. "I also understand that my answer remains the same." Through the front windows, she spots 2 more black Escalades pulling up. Standard cartel escalation, show additional force when initial intimidation fails. But Catherine's own reinforcements are already in motion. Officer Ramirez's patrol car passes by right on schedule. Part of a security net, she's quietly woven around the last stand. The regulars at the bar, many of them former military, have casually shifted positions to cover key angles. The leader straightens, abandoning pretense. "Things can become very difficult for businesses that don't cooperate, Miss Martinez. Accidents happen, licenses get revoked, sometimes buildings burn." His threat delivery is textbook cartel enforcement, but Catherine notes the subtle tells of uncertainty in his posture. Something about her response isn't following their expected script. "Is that what happened in Tucumcari?" Catherine asks, quietly, watching his eyes widen slightly. "Or was that Clovis? I get the locations confused sometimes." It's a calculated risk, revealing she knows about their other operations, but her training taught her the value of controlled escalation. Show enough knowledge to create doubt, but not enough to force immediate action. The leader steps back, reassessing. Catherine can almost see him running through his mental playbook, trying to understand why this simple intimidation mission isn't proceeding as planned. His associates have shifted their stance, unconsciously responding to their leader's uncertainty. Through the windows, Catherine spots movement in the escalades, additional enforcement teams preparing to deploy. "We'll continue this discussion later," the leader finally says, his tone carrying both threat and frustration. As they exit, Catherine's fingers move beneath the bar, sending a coded message through her secure communications system. Within minutes, satellite surveillance will track the escalades to their base of operations, adding another piece to the intelligence puzzle being assembled in Virginia. The evening continues, the saloon's regular customers unaware of the underlying currents of tension, but Catherine knows the real confrontation is still to come. The cartel will analyze this interaction, recognize that something isn't quite right about the simple saloon owner. They'll escalate, following their standard playbook. But 20 years of CIA operations have taught Catherine the value of letting enemies fall into their own patterns. As she serves drinks and chats with customers, her mind is already gaming out scenarios, preparing countermeasures, setting up the next phase of an operation that started long before the cartel ever noticed the last stand. Some skills never fade, some instincts never dull, and some retired operatives never really stop serving. After closing time, Catherine Martinez begins her real work. In the saloon's basement, behind a false wall that appears to hold wine storage, she activates a sophisticated communications center. Multiple screens display satellite imagery, surveillance feeds, and encrypted data streams. This is where 20 years of CIA tradecraft meets modern technology, creating a command center worthy of her operative days. "Status update on package Sierra," she types into a secure terminal. The response comes quickly. "Multiple vehicles. Track to location Alpha. Increased activity noted. Timeline accelerated." Catherine studies the satellite imagery, noting the concentration of black escalades at a warehouse just outside town. The cartel is preparing for something big, exactly as her training predicted they would. A quiet beep alerts her to movement on the perimeter sensors she installed throughout the neighborhood. Two men on foot, trying to stay in the shadows, conducting late-night surveillance of the last stand. Their movement patterns suggest military training, likely more cartel enforcers checking for security vulnerabilities. Catherine allows herself a small smile. They have no idea they're walking through a sophisticated detection grid that puts most military installations to shame. Her secure phone vibrates, a text from Officer Ramirez that appears innocent, but carries coded meaning. "Great burger today. Maybe try adding extra sauce tomorrow." Translation: suspicious vehicles spotted on patrol. Potential hostile activity expected within 24 hours. Catherine's network of local allies continues to prove invaluable, just as her CIA training taught her to cultivate. The night's intelligence gathering confirms her assessment. The cartel is shifting from intimidation to active pressure. Their surveillance teams have mapped what they think are the last stand's vulnerabilities. They've photographed her daily routines, noted her staff schedules, identified what they believe are security weaknesses, all exactly as she planned. Catherine moves to another section of the basement where a heavy steel door conceals her private armory. The weapons inside aren't the standard hardware found in gun shops. Each piece has been specially modified, their serial numbers existing only in classified databases. She begins her weekly maintenance routine, muscle memory from thousands of similar sessions during her operational years taking over. As she works, her mind processes the day's events through the filter of decades of intelligence experience. The cartel's approach follows predictable patterns she's documented across multiple operations. First, they establish presence. The subtle surveillance, the drive-bys, the hanging around. Then comes initial contact, testing responses and looking for weakness. Today's business meeting marked their shift to direct intimidation. The next phase will involve displays of force. More men, more vehicles, more obvious threats. They'll want to overwhelm her with their resources, make her feel isolated and vulnerable. It's a technique she's seen employed from Mexico City to Medellin, and one she's counted on them using here. A different alert sounds, motion sensors on the roof. Catherine switches to thermal imaging, identifying two more figures conducting high-ground reconnaissance. Their movements are professional, methodical, former military, probably Mexican special forces based on their tactics. The cartel always recruits the best for their enforcement teams, another detail she's factored into her preparations. In her office upstairs, Catherine reviews the personnel files of her staff, documents that go far deeper than simple employment records. Tom, her head of security, served 15 years in Force Recon. Maria trained with Israeli intelligence before joining a private security firm. Even the kitchen staff has backgrounds in military or law enforcement, each one carefully selected and positioned over the past 3 years, building a team that can handle whatever comes next. Another secure message arrives. Asset confirmation requested. Status of Sierra Tango protocols. Catherine's fingers move across the keyboard, sending confirmation that her operation remains on track. The cartel's escalating pressure isn't just expected, it's essential to her larger mission. Every move they make draws them further into a web she's spent years weaving. Through her surveillance feeds, she watches the nighttime activities around Santa Rosa. The cartel's enforcement teams are getting bolder, their movements more obvious. They want her to see them, to feel their growing presence. It's psychological. Warfare 101, something she taught at Langley before moving to field operations. The irony doesn't escape her. The early morning hours find Catherine reviewing contingency plans. Each potential scenario has been mapped out, every response carefully choreographed. The hidden cameras throughout the saloon, the reinforced walls, the multiple escape routes, nothing has been left to chance. Some might call it paranoia, but 20 years in covert operations taught her the difference between paranoia and preparation. As dawn approaches, she makes one final check of her security systems. The last stand appears quiet, just another small-town business resting until the next day begins. But beneath its casual exterior, the saloon has been transformed into a sophisticated tactical operations center, ready for whatever the cartel plans to throw at it. Catherine allows herself a moment of reflection. The cartel thinks they're dealing with a stubborn business owner who needs to be pressured into selling. They have no idea they're actually engaging with a carefully constructed operation 3 years in the making. Their every move, every escalation, every threat brings them closer to falling into a trap laid by someone they still know only as La Fantasma. Dawn breaks over Santa Rosa as Catherine Martinez begins what appears to be a routine morning at the last stand. She arrives precisely at 6:15 a.m., maintaining the predictable schedule that makes her seem like any other business owner. But her morning inspection of the saloon is anything but ordinary. It's a carefully choreographed security sweep disguised as normal preparation. "Coffee's ready, boss," Maria calls from the kitchen. It's their daily code phrase, confirming that the night shift surveillance detected no breaches. Catherine moves through the saloon, her practiced eye noting everything out of place. A chair slightly askew, evidence that someone tested the windows overnight. Scuff marks on the back door's frame, signs of an amateur attempt to check. The locks, all expected, all documented, all part of the larger operation. The morning regulars begin filtering in at 7 a.m. sharp. Retired rancher Bill Mackenzie takes his usual seat at the end of the bar, providing perfect coverage of the street. Former state trooper Sarah Chen settles into her corner booth, her position offering clear sightlines to both entrances. Neither knows they're part of Catherine's security network. their habitual patterns creating a natural surveillance system. "Lovely morning for a drive," Officer Ramirez mentions as he stops in for his coffee. Their casual conversation carries coded updates about cartel vehicle movements. 3 more SUVs arrived overnight. A new safe house, established on the outskirts of town, increased activity along known smuggling routes. Catherine absorbs the intelligence while maintaining the appearance of friendly small talk. The breakfast. Rush brings its own kind of cover. Tourists stopping for huevos rancheros on their way to Vegas. Local workers grabbing coffee before their shifts. Regular customers whose patterns Catherine has memorized down to the minute. Any deviation could signal cartel surveillance or infiltration attempts. "The suppliers coming at 10, Tom reminds her, using their established code for an incoming intelligence update. Catherine nods, already planning her route to the secure communication room. The morning deliveries provide perfect cover for checking her encrypted channels without arousing suspicion. In the kitchen, she reviews supply orders with her chef, Pablo. Their discussion about inventory needs doubles as a security briefing. Pablo, a former Marines Force recon operator, integrates updates about suspicious activities into their conversation about produce orders. 3 new faces at the bar. Yesterday, questions about the building's back entrance, someone photographing delivery schedules. The tourist families that stop for lunch provide another layer of complexity to Catherine's operation. Each must be quickly assessed. Genuine travelers or cartel scouts. Her CIA training helps her spot the tells, how they handle their phones, their awareness of exits, their interest in staff movements. Today's customers appear legitimate, but she notes 2 men whose attention to the saloon's layout suggests professional interest. "Those repairs you mentioned," Maria says during a quiet moment, "they're code for potential security concerns. The guys checking the roof yesterday, they came back this morning." Catherine processes this information while wiping down the bar. The cartel is mapping her security measures, looking for weaknesses. She makes a mental note to adjust the rooftop. Sensor grid tonight. The afternoon lull allows Catherine to maintain her cover as a hands-on owner. She reviews invoices in her office while actually monitoring multiple surveillance feeds. Updates from her network paint a clear picture. The cartel is methodically building pressure. Their enforcement teams are establishing a presence in town, their surveillance becoming more obvious. It's psychological warfare 101. Make the target. Feel surrounded. Local business owners stop by throughout the day, their visits carrying dual purposes. Hardware store owner Jack Thompson's complaint about parking issues alerts her to cartel vehicles establishing observation posts. Real estate agent Mary Rodriguez's gossip about new buyers in town identifies potential cartel front operations. Each interaction adds another piece to the intelligence puzzle Catherine is assembling. The Last Stand's reputation as a community gathering spot works in Catherine's favor. Town council members discuss local politics over lunch, providing cover for monitoring cartel influence in local government. Off-duty police officers make the Last Stand their regular hangout, creating a natural security presence that makes surveillance more challenging for cartel observers. As evening approaches, Catherine maintains her routine while tracking multiple threat vectors. The regular dinner crowd provides coverage for her staff to run counter-surveillance. Kitchen deliveries mask equipment upgrades. Building maintenance disguises security enhancements. Every aspect of the saloon's daily operation serves her larger mission. Entertainment for Friday confirmed, Tom reports, their signal that additional security assets are in place. Catherine acknowledges this while serving drinks. Her movements efficient but unhurried. Years of undercover work taught her that maintaining cover is about consistency, being the person others expect to see day after day. The sun sets over Santa Rosa, casting long shadows across the Last Stand's worn wooden floor. Catherine, moves through her evening routine, checking stocks, confirming reservations, managing staff. To anyone watching, she's simply a dedicated business owner ending another day. But beneath this careful performance, an operation years in the making continues to unfold. Late at night, in the secure room beneath the last stand, Catherine Martinez reviews intelligence files that reveal why her saloon has become the cartel's latest target. The seemingly simple building sits at the intersection of multiple criminal enterprises, a fact she knew when she chose this location 3 years ago. Asset Sierra confirms increased activity along Route 66, reads the latest encrypted update. Cartel establishing new distribution network, multiple officials compromised. Catherine overlays satellite imagery with traffic patterns, connecting dots that most law enforcement agencies don't even know exist. The last stand isn't just a business, it's a listening post, positioned at the heart of one of the largest drug trafficking operations in the Southwest. Through her CIA contacts, Catherine has spent years mapping the cartel's operation. Their smuggling routes, their safe houses, their corrupted officials, all carefully documented in files that would shock most New Mexico residents. The last stand's strategic location allows her to monitor vehicle movements, track suspicious patterns, and identify key players in the organization. Local asset reports 3 more police officers approached. Another update scrolls across her screen. Attempted recruitment through financial incentives. Catherine adds this to her growing database of corruption. The cartel isn't just moving product, they're systematically compromising local law enforcement, building a protection network that makes their operations nearly invisible to standard. Police work. Her secure phone vibrates, a message from one of her deep cover contacts still active within the cartel. Jefe making personal visit. Meeting at location Delta tomorrow. This is significant. High-level cartel leaders rarely travel to operational sites. The pressure on the last stand must be part of something bigger than just clearing a smuggling route. Catherine pulls up financial records gathered through her network, property purchases through shell companies, suspicious bank transfers, political donations from seemingly legitimate businesses. A pattern emerges. The cartel isn't just expanding their smuggling operation, they're buying control of the entire region. Asset confirmation required, another message demands. Status of operation. Looking glass? Catherine's fingers move across the keyboard, confirming that her position remains secure. Looking glass, the code name for her long-term mission, is more than just surveillance. It's about exposing a network of corruption that extends from street-level enforcers to the highest levels of state government. The evidence she's gathered is damning. Local judges accepting bribes to dismiss cases. County commissioners approving construction projects that hide smuggling operations. Law enforcement officers providing intelligence to cartel lieutenants. Each piece carefully documented, building a case that will bring down not just traffickers, but the entire system that protects them. Through her surveillance feeds, Catherine watches more cartel vehicles arrive in Santa Rosa. They're establishing a significant presence, far more than needed for simple intimidation. The last stand must represent something crucial to their plans, perhaps more than even they realize. Her position here threatens not just their smuggling routes, but their entire infrastructure of corruption. Asset Bravo reports movement at location Charlie, scrolls across her screen. Catherine checks the corresponding surveillance feed. A midnight meeting between a state senator and known cartel associates. More evidence for her files, another piece of the puzzle falling into place. The corruption runs deeper than anyone. Suspects. Her thoughts drift to Bogota, 2012, another operation exposing corruption, another network of criminal enterprises hidden behind legitimate businesses. The pattern is always the same. Start with small compromises, build dependent relationships, then expand control until entire regions are effectively owned by criminal organizations. The Last Stand security cameras pick up movement outside, more late-night surveillance by cartel enforcers. They're looking for weaknesses, unaware that every observation they make is being recorded, analyzed, and added to Catherine's growing body of evidence. Their very presence helps document the extent of their operation. Package Sierra shows significant acceleration, another update reports. Catherine overlays transportation data with known cartel movements. They're preparing for something big, a major shipment perhaps, or a significant expansion of their territory. Their pressure on the Last Stand suggests this location is crucial to their plans. Through her various sources, Catherine has identified at least 15 different criminal operations converging on Santa Rosa. Drug trafficking, money laundering, human smuggling, all protected by a web of corrupted officials and compromised law enforcement. The Last Stand sits at a crucial checkpoint in this network, a position that makes it both valuable and vulnerable. Asset confirmation required for Phase 2, the system prompts. Catherine authorizes the next stage of her operation. The cartel's escalating pressure plays perfectly into her strategy. Every move they make, every person they reveal, every resource they commit helps build her case. They think they're tightening a noose around a simple business owner, unaware they're actually exposing their entire organization. As midnight approaches, Catherine begins compiling her daily intelligence summary. The encrypted report will travel through secure channels to analysts who don't officially exist, contributing to an operation that won't be acknowledged for years. The scope of corruption she's documenting would shock most Americans. Police, officers, judges, politicians, all compromised by cartel money and influence. The Last Stand's location wasn't chosen by accident. 3 years ago, when Catherine retired from the CIA, she selected this spot specifically for its strategic value. From here, she can monitor multiple smuggling routes, track cartel movements, and document the activities of corrupted officials. Every drink served, every customer interaction, every daily routine provides cover for gathering intelligence that will eventually dismantle an entire criminal empire. The morning light barely touches Santa Rosa's streets when Catherine's training kicks in. Through the Last Stand's sophisticated security system, she detects 4 cartel enforcers attempting to plant surveillance devices around her property. Their technique is professional, CIA-grade equipment disguised as ordinary maintenance work. But 20 years of covert operations taught Catherine every trick in the book, including how to turn enemy surveillance against itself. Southeast. Corner 10 meters from the service entrance. She murmurs to Tom through their encrypted communication system. Her head of security, currently pretending to unload supplies, acknowledges with a casual adjustment of his cap. Within minutes, the cartel's surveillance device is not only identified, but quietly modified. Instead of transmitting to their receivers, it now feeds directly into Catherine's security network. Just like Damascus, she thinks, remembering a similar operation where she turned Syrian intelligence equipment into her own surveillance network. The skills learned in countless missions now serve a new purpose, protecting the Last Stand while gathering evidence against the cartel's operation. The morning progresses, and Catherine's training reveals itself in subtle ways. When 2 cartel scouts enter the saloon, she notes their tactical formation immediately, a pattern she herself taught to CIA field operatives. Her response appears casual, but follows precise counter-surveillance protocols, varying her movements, creating natural barriers to observation, maintaining multiple escape routes. "Coffee refill, sir?" she asks one of the scouts, using the opportunity to plant a microscopic tracking device on his jacket, a technique perfected during operations in Bogotá. The man smiles, unaware that his own surveillance mission has been compromised. Through her hidden command center, Catherine will track his movements for days, mapping the cartel's local network. A quiet alert from her security system signals another cartel team approaching from the north. Their vehicle spacing, approach angle, and speed all suggest military training. Catherine's mind automatically calculates threat vectors, escape routes, and defensive positions, habits ingrained through years of field operations. "Maria, let's rotate the lunch specials board," she calls out, their code for implementing counter-surveillance measures. Her staff responds with practiced efficiency, each person adjusting their positions to optimize security coverage while appearing completely natural to observers. Years of CIA training taught Catherine that the best operations hide in plain sight. Every customer interaction doubles as tactical assessment. Each casual conversation provides cover for gathering intelligence. The simple act of wiping down tables allows her to sweep for surveillance devices while maintaining her cover as a diligent business owner. "Two more at the corner table," Tom reports through their concealed communication system. Catherine acknowledges while serving drinks, her movements deliberately creating blocking positions that disrupt the new observer's sightlines. It's a technique she developed during undercover operations in Medellin, using normal business activities to counter hostile surveillance. The cartel enforcers watch her every move, looking for patterns and vulnerabilities. What they don't realize is that Catherine is doing the same, with decades more experience. Each of their surveillance attempts reveals more about their own operations, their tactics, their training sources. Every move they make adds another piece to the intelligence puzzle she's assembling. "Package delivered," comes a coded message from Officer Ramirez as he passes by on patrol. Catherine decodes the warning instantly, cartel leadership arriving in town. Her training kicks into high gear, activating dormant surveillance networks, adjusting security protocols, preparing for increased threat levels. Through the last stand's hidden camera system, she watches the cartel's enforcement teams establish surveillance positions around her property. Their technique is professional but predictable, standard patterns she's encountered from Mexico City to Caracas. What they see as routine surveillance is actually providing her with valuable intelligence about their operations. "Interesting choice of equipment," she notes, observing their surveillance gear through concealed sensors. The technology suggests CIA connections, another piece of evidence for her growing case file. Her years of experience help her identify not just the equipment, but likely sources, training protocols, and organizational structures. A subtle signal from Maria alerts Catherine to another development. Cartel operatives attempting to access the last stand's back entrance. Their approach is tactical, professional, but they don't realize they're walking into a sophisticated detection grid. Every movement, every attempt at infiltration is documented and analyzed. Catherine moves through her daily routine, each action precisely calculated. When she checks inventory in the storeroom, she's actually accessing a hidden command center. While reviewing employee schedules, she's updating security protocols. A simple conversation about liquor orders contains coded updates about cartel movements. Just like Ankara, she thinks, remembering similar operations where routine business activities masked complex intelligence gathering. The skills honed through decades of covert operations now serve to protect the last stand while building a case against the cartel's entire network. As evening approaches, Catherine's training allows her to detect subtle changes in the cartel's surveillance pattern. They're shifting from observation to preparation for action. Their teams are moving with more purpose, their communications becoming more frequent. Years of experience tell her they're building toward something significant. "Prepare for evening protocol Delta," she signals her staff, a command to heighten security while maintaining normal operations. The last stand's evening crowd provides perfect cover for implementing enhanced defensive measures. Every member of her team knows their role, their training matching the professionalism of the cartel operatives they're countering. The last stand's evening crowd is thinning, When Catherine's instincts signal the shift, 5 men enter the saloon, their movements carrying the unmistakable rhythm of combat training. Unlike previous cartel visitors, these aren't here for surveillance or intimidation. Their purpose radiates danger. A message needs to be sent, and they're the messengers. "Evening, Miss Martinez." The leader approaches the bar, his smile cold and professional. "Time we had a serious conversation about your establishment's future." Through the bar's mirrors, Catherine tracks his team's deployment. Standard infiltration formation, positions covering all exits. These aren't ordinary enforcers. Their movements suggest special forces training, probably Mexican GAIF units, recruited by the cartel. "I believe we've already discussed this," Catherine responds, her tone measured. While maintaining eye contact with the leader, her trained senses catalogue every detail. Weapons concealed under jackets, MP5Ks and Glock 19s, radio earpieces suggesting coordinated backup outside, the slight bulge at the small of their backs indicating body armor. The leader's smile doesn't waver. Previous discussions were optional, tonight's isn't. He places a hand on the bar, revealing a tattoo Catherine instantly recognizes: Los Zetas Cartel, Special Operations Branch. Her mind flashes to a briefing room in Langley, analyzing similar operative profiles during her CIA days. "Tom, we're on lime wedges," she calls out casually. A coded signal activating emergency protocols. Her security team responds instantly, their movements disguised by routine tasks. Maria begins ushering regular customers toward the side exit, while other staff members shift to predetermined defensive positions. "Your property sits on a very valuable route," the leader continues, unaware that Catherine is already calculating angles, distances, and response times. "Refusing our generous offer creates complications." Through hidden cameras, she monitors additional cartel vehicles arriving outside. They're implementing standard tactical containment, a technique she herself once taught to CIA field operatives. "Complications work both ways," Catherine replies, her hand casually dropping below the bar. The leader's eyes narrow slightly, recognizing something in her tone that doesn't match the profile of a simple business owner. It's the voice she used in Bogotá when cartel enforcers discovered too late they weren't dealing with an ordinary target. The tension shifts palpably as the leader reassesses. Something about Catherine's response doesn't fit their intelligence. His team subtly adjusts their positions, unconsciously responding to their commander's uncertainty. Through her concealed earpiece, Catherine receives updates about cartel backup teams moving into position around the building. "Last chance, Miss Martinez." The leader's friendly facade drops entirely. "Sign the papers or things get unpleasant." His hand moves slightly toward his concealed weapon, a tell Catherine has seen countless times in operations across Latin America. The moment of decision has arrived. "Interesting choice of hardware," she comments, nodding toward his concealed MP5K. "Standard Los Zetas issue, modified with Argentinian parts, accurate up to 75 meters, 30-round magazine." The leader's eyes widen slightly as she continues. "The safety's still on, by the way. Rookie mistake." The shock registers, just as Catherine's training takes over. 20 years of covert operations condense into fluid motion. Her hand moves with practiced efficiency, activating hidden defenses built into the Last Stand's architecture. Steel shutters slam down over windows and doors, tactical lights flood the room, and a high-frequency pulse temporarily disrupts their radio communications. "What the—" The leader reaches for his weapon, but Catherine is already moving. A precise strike to his solar plexus, followed by an arm lock she perfected in CIA close combat training. His team reacts professionally, but too late. Tom and his security staff emerge from concealed positions, their own tactical experience evident in their coordinated response. The fight is brief but intense. Catherine's movements flow with lethal grace, each action built on years of operational experience. A knife thrust is deflected using a technique learned from Israeli special forces. A roundhouse kick is countered with Krav Maga precision. Her attackers' military training meets something they never expected, an operative with decades more experience. "Contact rear!" one enforcer shouts, bringing his weapon up. Catherine's response is instantaneous. The heavy serving tray in her hand becomes a projectile, striking his weapon arm with calculated force. She closes distance before he can recover, using his own momentum to throw him into his approaching teammate. Through her earpiece, she monitors the situation outside. The cartel's backup teams are moving to breach, unaware they're being tracked by multiple federal agencies. Every radio transmission, every tactical movement adds to the evidence being compiled against their organization. The leader makes one final attempt, drawing a backup weapon. Catherine's response demonstrates why she earned her reputation in the intelligence community. The disarm is textbook CIA close combat, followed by a joint lock that leaves him face down on the bar. "You have no idea what you're starting," he growls through clenched teeth. Catherine secures his restraints while scanning for additional threats. "Actually," she responds, her voice carrying echoes of countless successful operations, "you have no idea what you've walked into." The entire confrontation lasts less than 2 minutes. When Officer Ramirez happens to respond to a noise complaint, he finds 5 cartel operatives secured and waiting. Their weapons, communications equipment, and tactical gear will provide valuable intelligence about their organization's capabilities. As police vehicles arrive outside, Catherine maintains her cover as a concerned business owner. But beneath this careful facade, her mind is already analyzing the implications. The cartel committed special forces operators to this attack, a significant escalation that suggests the last stand threatens something crucial to their operation. Through secure channels, she sends a coded update. Phase 1 complete. Target resources confirmed, proceeding to Phase 2. The cartel's failed intimidation attempt has played perfectly into her larger strategy. Their response will provide even more evidence, leading them step by step into an operation years in the making. The aftermath of the confrontation at the La Stand creates exactly the kind of chaos Catherine anticipated. In her secure command center beneath the Saloon, she monitors the cartel's response through multiple intelligence channels. Emergency meetings being called, resources being redirected, parallel operations suddenly suspended. Every reaction provides valuable intelligence about their organizational structure. "Asset confirmation required," scrolls across her secure and terminal. "Status of operation looking glass objectives?" Catherine's fingers move across the keyboard, updating her handlers about the night's developments. The failed attack wasn't just about defending her business, it was about forcing the cartel to reveal key operational details. Through her surveillance network, she tracks unusual activity across Santa Rosa. Cartel safehouses suddenly emptying, previously inactive phone numbers lighting up with calls, bank accounts showing suspicious transfers. The organization is scrambling to adjust, unaware that every move they make adds another piece to Catherine's intelligence puzzle. Multiple HVTs confirmed at Location Delta, reports one of her deep cover assets. High-value targets gathering. Means the cartel leadership is concerned. Exactly as she planned. Her years in the CIA taught her that organizations are most vulnerable when forced to react quickly to unexpected situations. Officer Ramirez stops by the last stand the next morning, his casual visit masking an intelligence exchange. "Interesting backgrounds on our friends from last night," he mentions, while accepting his usual coffee. "Military records, specialized training, connections to several ongoing federal investigations." Every detail confirms Catherine's assessment. The cartel committed significant resources to the Last Stand operation. In her office, Catherine reviews data from the captured enforcers' equipment. Their communications devices reveal encryption protocols matching those used by Mexican special forces. Their tactical gear includes modifications specific to certain cartel units. Even their weapons provide intelligence, serial numbers, and modifications creating links to other criminal enterprises. Asset Bravo reports increased activity at monitoring stations. Another update scrolls across her screen. The cartel is enhancing surveillance throughout the region, a standard response to unexpected resistance. Catherine allows herself a small smile. Every additional surveillance team they deploy creates another opportunity to gather intelligence. Through her CIA contacts, she learns that the failed attack has attracted attention from multiple federal agencies. DEA task forces suddenly showing interest in Santa Rosa, FBI analysts requesting information about local cartel activities. Each inquiry adds pressure to the organization, forcing them to expose more of their operation. Package Sierra shows significant movement, Maria reports during a quiet moment at the bar. Catherine decodes the message instantly. The cartel is moving major shipments, probably attempting to clear valuable routes before further complications arise. Every vehicle movement, every logistics change is documented by her surveillance network. The cartel's response follows patterns Catherine has seen before, from Mexico City to Medellin. First comes the tactical retreat, pulling back visible assets while assessing the situation. Then the intelligence-gathering phase, trying to understand how their initial approach failed. Finally, the strategic reorganization, adjusting operations to address the new threat. Multiple vehicles tracked to location Alpha, her system reports. Through satellite feeds, Catherine monitors cartel convoys converging on a warehouse outside town. Emergency meetings of this scale suggest she's disrupted something significant. Her training helps her interpret the patterns. The cartel is reorganizing their entire regional operation. Tom provides another update during his security rounds. Our friends left some interesting paperwork behind. The documents recovered from the attackers include operational codes, communication protocols, and logistics details. Each piece of intelligence helps map the cartel's organizational structure and operational methods. Through her secured channels, Catherine receives confirmation of increasing federal interest. Multiple agencies requesting asset verification. The failed attack has drawn attention from law enforcement at all levels. Local police suddenly finding probable cause for search warrants. State investigators discovering links to ongoing cases. Federal agents noting patterns that match larger investigations. Asset Charlie reports financial anomalies. Scrolls another update. The cartel's emergency response is creating ripples through their money laundering network. Bank transfers, property sales, business transactions, all showing patterns that help identify their financial infrastructure. In her hidden command center, Catherine compiles intelligence from multiple sources. Surveillance photos showing cartel leaders meeting with corrupt officials. Audio recordings of tactical communications during the failed attack. Financial records revealing money laundering operations. Each piece adds to the body of evidence being built against the organization. Phase 2, authorization confirmed, comes the response from her handlers. The cartel's aggressive response has accelerated the timeline, but Catherine's operation remains on track. Years of planning, positioning, and preparation have led to this moment. The failed attack on the Last Stand isn't just an isolated incident, it's the first domino in a carefully arranged sequence. As night falls over Santa Rosa, Catherine reviews security footage from the confrontation. The cartel's tactical team demonstrated professional training, sophisticated equipment, and coordinated tactics. Their very competence provides evidence. of the organization's resources and capabilities. Even their failure serves her larger mission. Through encrypted channels, she monitors the broader impact. Other cartel operations in the region showing signs of disruption. Smuggling routes being hastily reorganized. Safe houses suddenly abandoned. The organization's response reveals vulnerabilities, connections, and operational patterns that might otherwise have remained hidden. In the pre-dawn hours, Catherine Martinez sits alone in her private apartment above the last stand, a glass of bourbon untouched before her. The adrenaline from the night's confrontation has faded, leaving behind memories she usually keeps carefully, locked away. 20 years of covert operations leave marks that no amount of retirement can erase. Her hands move automatically, field stripping and cleaning her weapon, a ritual that's brought comfort since her earliest CIA days. Each mechanical click and smell of gun oil triggers flashbacks. Bogotá, 2008, a similar night after an operation. Went sideways. Mexico City, 2012, watching cartel violence tear apart communities she'd grown to care about. Tehran, 2015, making choices that still haunt her dreams. "You're up early," Maria's voice carries from the doorway. Catherine doesn't startle. Her situational awareness never truly switches off. Her head waitress, former Mossad operative, understands the weight of long nights and heavy memories. Without words, Maria starts the coffee maker, the familiar routine grounding them both in the present. "They're getting bolder," Catherine observes, her tactical mind never fully at rest. But Maria hears the undertone. The burden of knowing tonight's violence is just the beginning. They've both seen how these scenarios play out, how initial confrontations escalate into waves of retribution. Through the apartment's reinforced windows, Catherine watches the sun rise over Santa Rosa. The small town reminds her of places she's operated before, communities caught between criminal enterprises and corrupted authority, places where ordinary people pay the price for others' greed and violence. "Sometimes I wonder," she admits quietly, "if we're just bringing the war to their doorstep." It's a rare moment of vulnerability, shared only with someone who understands. Maria sets down coffee mugs, her movements precise, another operative who never fully leaves the field behind. "We bring the fight, so others don't have to," Maria responds, echoing words from their training days. "Better to face it on our terms than theirs." They both know the truth of this, have seen what happens when criminal organizations operate, unopposed, when corruption goes unchallenged. Catherine's secure phone vibrates with updates about cartel movements, but for a moment she lets it wait. Her mind drifts to her first CIA assignment, watching similar organizations destroy communities through violence and corruption. The faces change, the locations shift, but the pattern remains the same. Ordinary people caught in extraordinary conflicts. Tom's team completed the security sweep, Maria reports, shifting back to operational mode. But she remains present, understanding that some mornings require both professional focus and human connection. They've both learned the hard way that this life demands balance between vigilance and rest, between mission and meaning. In her hidden command center, surveillance feeds show Santa Rosa awakening to another day. School buses beginning their routes, shop owners opening for business. The rhythm of normal life continuing, unaware of the shadow war being waged in their midst. Catherine feels the familiar weight of responsibility, protecting people who can never know they're being protected. Asset confirmation required, scrolls across her secure terminal, but Catherine lets it wait. Instead, she shares another cup of coffee with Maria, allowing herself a moment to process the night's events. 20 years of operations have taught her the importance of these quiet moments, times to acknowledge the cost of the life they've chosen. "The locals are talking," Maria mentions carefully, "about last night." Catherine nods, understanding the implications. Violence, no matter how controlled, leaves ripples. Questions will be asked, rumors will spread. Their cover as simple business owners becomes slightly more complicated. Through her surveillance cameras, Catherine watches her regular customers, arriving for breakfast. Each familiar face carries memories of similar communities she's worked to protect over the years. Places where she moved like a ghost, fighting battles most people never knew existed. "We make a difference," Maria says quietly, reading Catherine's thoughts with the insight of shared experience, even if they never know. It's an old conversation between them, a reminder of why they continue this work, even after officially retiring. The morning sun fills the apartment, casting long shadows that remind Catherine of other safe houses, other operations, other moments of quiet reflection between bursts of action. Her training never lets her fully relax, but experience has taught her to find peace in these temporary calms. Phase 2. Preparations are complete, Maria reports, returning to operational status. But she stays present, another cup of coffee, ready. They both understand the rhythm of this life, the need to balance professional distance with human connection, tactical awareness with emotional grounding. Through her secure channels, Catherine monitors the cartel's overnight reactions. Safe houses being emptied, resources being moved, operations being reorganized. But for this moment, she allows herself to feel the weight of what's coming. The responsibility of bringing conflict to a peaceful community. "We chose this life," Maria reminds her, echoing conversations from their active service days, because someone has to stand between them and what's coming. They've both seen what happens when no one takes that stand, when criminal organizations operate unopposed, when corruption goes unchallenged. As morning fully arrives, Catherine begins her daily routine. Her tactical awareness never wavers. Her operational planning continues, but she carries with her the strength of shared understanding. Some burdens are lighter when carried together. Some battles easier faced with allies who understand both the professional and personal costs. The morning after the confrontation, the last stand fills with its usual crowd, but Catherine notices subtle changes in their behavior. Her regulars position themselves differently, unconsciously creating defensive positions throughout the saloon. Local law enforcement drops by more frequently, their patrol patterns tightening around the establishment. The community has sensed the threat, and without realizing it, they're forming a protective network around one of their own. "Heard there was some trouble last night," Bill Mackenzie mentions, the retired Army Ranger taking his usual spot at the bar. His casual comment carries deeper meaning, an offer of support from the veteran community. Catherine has carefully cultivated these relationships, knowing that former military personnel make natural allies. "Just a minor disagreement," she responds, maintaining her cover while appreciating the underlying message. Through her surveillance systems, she monitors increased activity among the town's veteran population. Former Special Forces operators coincidentally choosing the last stand for their coffee meetings. Retired police officers making more frequent appearances. Officer Ramirez arrives for his usual morning coffee, but today he's accompanied by Detective Sarah Chen from the State Police. Their conversation seems casual, but Catherine recognizes the tactical assessment taking place. Local law enforcement is quietly increasing its presence, creating another layer of security around the last stand. The Chamber of Commerce is concerned. Mary Rodriguez, the local real estate agent, mentions during lunch. Her worried tone is genuine, but Catherine notes how she positions herself to monitor the entrance. Another unconscious ally, another set of eyes watching for threats. The business community closing ranks around one of their own. Through her secure channels, Catherine receives updates about larger patterns emerging. The veteran grapevine humming, With activity, local security companies offering routine upgrades to nearby businesses, community watch groups suddenly becoming more organized. Her CIA training recognizes the formation of informal intelligence networks. Tom's brought in some friends for extra shifts, Maria reports quietly. Catherine nods, noting the professional bearing of the new staff members. Former operators from various agencies, now working private security, volunteering their services through old network connections. The shadow community taking care of its own. The afternoon brings a visit from Father Michael of St. Joseph's Church. His concern about recent vandalism in the area provides cover for sharing information about suspicious activities around town. The church's charitable activities have always been useful for tracking cartel movements. Now they become another thread in the intelligence web. Asset confirmation required, her secure terminal prompts. Status of community integration. Catherine's response details how the last stand's position in the community provides both cover and resources. Every friendly neighbor, every concerned regular, every local business owner becomes part of an unconscious defensive network. Through surveillance feeds, she monitors multiple layers of activity around her establishment. Veterans maintaining casual but strategic positions throughout the day. Off-duty police officers choosing specific tables with good sightlines. Local business owners developing sudden interests in security improvements. The suppliers need updated delivery schedules. Tom reports, code for coordinating with newly arrived surveillance teams. Catherine's network has activated multiple levels of support, drawing on connections built through years of careful relationship building. Betty Wilson, the hardware store owner and former NSA analyst, stops by with concerns about recent power fluctuations. Her real purpose is to share intelligence about unusual equipment purchases by suspected cartel members. The local business community's informal information network adds another layer to Catherine's intelligence gathering. Community assets responding as anticipated. She updates her handlers. Years of experience taught her the value of building these networks, how normal community relationships can transform into operational resources when needed. The afternoon sees a gathering of local business owners at the last stand, officially to discuss recent vandalism concerns. Catherine recognizes faces from various agencies, retired FBI, former DEA, ex-military intelligence, the shadow community emerging to protect one of their own, each bringing unique skills and resources. Through her hidden command center, she monitors how these informal networks integrate with her official operation. Local knowledge filling intelligence gaps, community relationships providing cover for surveillance. Ordinary business activities masking security operations. Asset Charlie reports increased community awareness. Scrolls across her screen. The cartel's aggressive move has activated multiple layers of response, many operating independently but serving her larger mission. Each community member who chooses to watch, report, or stand ready adds another thread to the protective web. Mike Thompson, the local gun shop owner and former Marine sniper, discusses inventory concerns that reveal cartel attempts to acquire weapons locally. The informal intelligence network grows, each piece of information adding to Catherine's understanding of the threat landscape. As evening approaches, she notices how the saloon's regular crowd has shifted. More veterans choosing strategic positions, more off-duty law enforcement present, more community members unconsciously participating in surveillance and security. The last stand has become the center of a sophisticated defensive network, most of its participants unaware of their role. Phase 2, community integration confirmed, Catherine reports through secure channels. Her years of building cover didn't just create a business owner persona, they established a position within the community that now provides crucial operational support. Through the saloon's windows, she watches Santa Rosa's evening activities. Every passing neighbor who pays extra attention, every business owner who reports suspicious activities, every community member who stands ready to help, adds another layer to her operation's security and intelligence gathering. The cartel's response begins at dawn, exactly as Catherine's CIA training predicted. Through her surveillance network, she tracks multiple vehicles entering Santa Rosa, black SUVs with diplomatic plates, a sign that cartel leadership has committed serious resources to dealing with the last stand problem. 6 new surveillance teams identified, scrolls across her secure terminal. Professional-grade equipment, military tactical patterns. Catherine monitors their deployment through hidden cameras. The cartel's new operators show advanced training, former special forces, private military contractors, experienced mercenaries. This is no longer just an intimidation operation. Package Sierra shows significant acceleration, Maria reports during morning preparations. Translation: major cartel assets moving into position around town. Catherine's tactical assessment notes their professional approach, establishing overlapping surveillance zones, positioning quick reaction teams, preparing for multiple contingencies. Through her command center's feeds, she tracks systematic pressure being applied throughout Santa Rosa, building inspectors suddenly finding problems with businesses near the last stand, health department scheduling surprise audits, tax assessors, showing unusual interest in local properties, the cartel leveraging corrupted officials to tighten the noose. Asset confirmation required, her system prompts. Status of defensive preparations. Catherine's fingers move across the keyboard, updating her handlers about the escalating situation. The cartel's aggressive response plays into her larger strategy, forcing them to expose more of their organization's infrastructure. Officer Ramirez passes by more frequently, his updates painting a clear picture. Cartel enforcers establishing safe houses throughout town, suspicious vehicles conducting surveillance runs, unknown individuals photographing the last stand's delivery schedules. The pressure builds systematically, professionally. Through secure channels, Catherine monitors broader patterns. Cartel financial operations showing increased activity. Shell companies making property purchases near the last stand. Bank transfers suggesting preparation for major action. Every move they make reveals more about their capabilities and resources. "Tom, we need to rotate the beer selection," she calls out, code for implementing enhanced security protocols. Her staff responds smoothly, each person adjusting to heightened alert status while maintaining normal operations. Years of training paying off as the last stand transforms into a hardened position without appearing to change at all. The cartel's new surveillance teams are sophisticated, but Catherine's experience lets her track their movements. The way they maintain radio discipline, their professional approach to establishing observation posts, the coordinated movement of their vehicles, all indicating serious operational resources have been committed. Multiple HVTs approaching sector, her system alerts. High-value targets, cartel leadership moving into position to oversee the operation personally. Through her surveillance network, Catherine identifies several known commanders arriving at a local hotel. Their presence confirms the significance of the last stand to their operations. The pressure escalates throughout the morning. Health inspectors finding creative violations, license renewal issues suddenly arising, supply deliveries mysteriously delayed. The cartel leveraging every resource to isolate and squeeze the last stand, unaware they're following a script Catherine helped write during her CIA days. Asset Bravo reports increased tactical movement, scrolls another update. Through carefully hidden cameras, she monitors cartel teams conducting detailed reconnaissance of her property. Their approach is methodical, professional, exactly what she'd expect from former Special Forces operators. Every observation they make adds to their confidence while playing into her strategy. The afternoon brings new pressure points. insurance companies raising concerns about coverage, utility companies discovering service issues, local media receiving anonymous tips about health code violations. The cartel demonstrates its ability to attack through multiple vectors, each seemingly legitimate but part of a coordinated campaign. Package Delta in motion, Maria reports quietly. Code for major cartel resources being deployed. Catherine's surveillance network tracks multiple teams, establishing positions around the last stand. Their tactical positioning shows advanced training, their equipment suggesting serious financial backing. The cartel is done playing games. Through a command center, she monitors their communication patterns, encrypted channels suggesting military-grade equipment, tactical frequencies indicating professional coordination, command and control structures revealing organizational hierarchies. Every detail adds to the intelligence being gathered about their operations. Situation update required, her handlers prompt. Catherine's response details how the cartel's escalation exposes their capabilities and connections. Each move they make, each resource they commit, each tactic they employ, helps build the case against their entire organization. The pressure continues building as evening approaches. More surveillance teams arriving, additional safe houses being established, increased activity among corrupted officials. The cartel systematically tightening its grip on the area around the last stand, believing they're following their standard playbook for dealing with resistant targets. Phase 3 authorization confirmed scrolls across her screen. The cartel's aggressive response has accelerated the timeline, but Catherine's operation remains on track. Their escalation forces them to commit more resources, expose more connections, reveal more of their infrastructure, exactly as she planned. Through her surveillance feeds, she watches the cartel's operation unfold. Professional teams establishing coverage zones, quick reaction forces positioning for rapid response, command elements coordinating multiple assets. Their very competence works against them, providing evidence of their capabilities and resources. As night falls over Santa Rosa, Catherine activates the last stand's full defensive capabilities. Behind the saloon's rustic exterior lies a sophisticated tactical operations center that would impress most military commanders. Every renovation over the past 3 years had a dual purpose, creating defensive positions while maintaining the appearance of a normal business. Initiating lockdown protocols, she announces through the secure staff channel. The last stand's transformation begins subtly but comprehensively. Reinforced shutters disguised as decorative woodwork slide into place. Hidden armor panels behind vintage wallpaper activate. Seemingly ordinary fixtures reveal surveillance and defensive capabilities. Asset confirmation required, her system prompts. Status of defensive preparations. Catherine's response details the last stand's conversion from saloon to fortress. Every entrance covered by multiple layers of security. Every approach monitored by sophisticated detection systems. Every potential vulnerability addressed through carefully planned countermeasures. Through her command center's feeds, she monitors the building's defensive grid, motion sensors hidden in authentic-looking wooden trim, thermal cameras concealed behind antique mirrors, pressure plates beneath carefully aged floorboards. 3 years of CIA experience went into making every security measure invisible to casual observation. Tom, implement Protocol Delta. She orders, triggering the next phase of fortification. The saloon's basement transforms into a hardened command post. Communications equipment emerges from behind false walls. Tactical displays activate beneath vintage beer signs. An armory worthy of a special forces team becomes accessible behind what appears to be wine storage. The last stand's ordinary bar top conceals reinforced firing positions. Vintage decorations provide cover for defensive equipment. Even the ancient cash register hides sophisticated communications gear. Catherine's CIA training showed in every Detail, creating security without sacrificing appearance. Multiple approach vectors covered, Maria reports, confirming defensive positions. The staff moves with practiced efficiency, each person knowing their role in converting the saloon into a tactical strongpoint. Years of drills and preparation paying off as they transform their workplace while maintaining its cover as a normal business. Through secure channels, Catherine coordinates with her network, safe houses activated throughout town, escape routes confirmed and monitored, alternative command posts prepared if needed. Her years of operational experience evident in the layers of contingency planning. Package Sierra shows tactical movement, her system alerts. Through surveillance feeds, she tracks cartel teams conducting final reconnaissance. Their professional approach confirms her assessment. They're preparing for a major operation. But the last stand's defenses are designed to counter exactly this type of threat. The saloon's upper floor contains another layer of security. What appears to be simple storage space conceals a sophisticated surveillance center. Regular guest rooms double as defensive positions. Even the vintage furniture provides tactical advantages, blocking lines of sight, creating cover, enabling rapid response. Asset Bravo reports perimeter activity, scrolls another update. Catherine monitors cartel teams establishing containment positions around the last stand. Their tactical deployment shows military training, but her defenses are designed by someone with decades more experience. Every move they make has been anticipated and countered. The evening progresses as Catherine's team completes their preparations. Equipment checked and rechecked, communication systems tested, defensive positions confirmed. The last stand's transformation from saloon to fortress happens smoothly, invisibly, the result of countless practice sessions. Phase 3 defensive grid active, she reports through secure channels. Years of planning and preparation have created a position that can withstand significant pressure. Every apparent vulnerability actually leads to a prepared response. Every seeming weakness masks a tactical advantage. Through her command center, she monitors multiple security layers. Outer perimeter sensors tracking movement patterns. Middle zone detectors identifying threat levels. Inner defensive grid ready for immediate response. The last stand's security rivals military installations while maintaining its cover as a simple business. Tom, verify protocol echo, she orders, initiating final checks. Her security team confirms each defensive measure, each piece of equipment, each prepared position. Nothing left to chance, no detail overlooked. Catherine's CIA experience shows in the thoroughness of the preparations. The night deepens as the last stand completes its transformation. What looks like a normal saloon has become a hardened tactical position capable of withstanding serious pressure while maintaining its cover. Every defensive measure hidden beneath careful camouflage, every security system disguised as ordinary fixtures. Asset confirmation complete, her system announces. Catherine reviews the final status reports. The last stand's defenses are fully activated, its security measures ready, its tactical capabilities at full strength. Years of planning and preparation have created a position that can handle whatever the cartel plans to throw at it. Through surveillance feeds, she monitors the final preparations. Staff moving with practiced efficiency between defensive positions. Equipment ready but concealed. Security measures active but invisible. The last stand appears unchanged to outside observation while being fully prepared for serious conflict. The hours before dawn find Catherine in her command center, reviewing intelligence from multiple sources. Her secure terminal displays satellite imagery showing cartel forces converging on Santa Rosa. Tactical teams taking positions. Command. Elements establishing control points. Support units moving into place. The pattern is clear. They're preparing for a major operation. Asset confirmation required, her system prompts. Status of evidence compilation. Catherine's fingers move across the keyboard, updating her handlers about the operation's progress. Every cartel movement, every tactical deployment, every resource commitment adds to the case being built against their organization. Multiple HVTs confirmed in sector, scrolls another update. Through surveillance feeds, she tracks high-value targets arriving at a local hotel. Cartel leadership gathering to oversee the operation personally. Their presence confirms the significance of what's about to happen and plays perfectly into her strategy. Maria enters with tactical updates disguised as routine reports. Delivery schedules confirmed for tomorrow. Translation: Federal response teams are in position. Supplier inventory updated, meaning surveillance networks are fully operational. Staff rotation adjusted. Code for defensive teams ready for deployment. Through her sophisticated monitoring systems, Catherine tracks multiple layers of activity. Cartel enforcement teams conducting final reconnaissance. Corrupt officials being positioned to provide cover. Financial resources being moved into place. Every detail reveals more about their organization's capabilities and structure. Tom, verify protocol Foxtrot, she orders, initiating final coordination checks. Her security team confirms communications with various assets, local law enforcement, standing by. Federal response units in position, surveillance networks fully operational, years of preparation culminating in this moment. The last stand's defensive systems show full readiness. Every security measure tested and confirmed. Every tactical position properly supplied. Every piece of equipment checked and rechecked. Catherine's CIA training evident in the methodical attention to detail. Package Sierra shows final deployment, her system alerts. Through hidden cameras, she monitors cartel teams taking their positions. Their tactical approach is professional, methodical, exactly what she'd expect from former Special Forces operators. But her preparations are designed by someone with decades more experience. Officer Ramirez makes one final pass, providing last-minute intelligence. Cartel vehicles spotted at key locations. Suspicious activity around known safe houses. Unusual. Movements among corrupted officials. Each detail adding to Catherine's understanding of the coming operation. Through secure channels, she coordinates with her handlers. Phase 4, authorization confirmed. The operation's timing is crucial, allowing the cartel to commit sufficient resources while maintaining control of the situation. Every move calculated to expose more of their organization. The morning light begins to creep over Santa Rosa as Catherine reviews her final preparations. Evidence gathered from months of surveillance. Documentation of cartel movements and activities. Proof of corruption among local officials. A comprehensive case built methodically, professionally, waiting for this moment. Asset Bravo reports increased activity, scrolls another update. Through surveillance feeds, she tracks cartel reinforcements arriving. More tactical teams, additional equipment, extra vehicles. They're committing significant resources to this operation, exactly as she planned. The last stands defensive. Positions are fully manned, each team member knowing their role. Tom coordinating security responses, Maria managing intelligence flow, Pablo overseeing tactical support, years of training and preparation evident in their professional efficiency. Final coordination check required. Her system prompts. Catherine verifies multiple elements of her operation. Surveillance networks active and recording. Evidence collection systems fully functional. Communication channels secure and monitored. Every aspect of the coming confrontation prepared for documentation. Through her command center's feeds, she monitors the broader tactical situation. Cartel forces establishing containment positions. Quick reaction teams standing by. Command and control elements coordinating multiple assets. Their operation is professional, sophisticated, and completely compromised. Asset Charlie confirms financial tracking active. Another update reports. Catherine's operation isn't just about physical confrontation. It's about documenting every aspect of the cartel's activities. Money movements, resource allocation, organizational structure. Each element adding to the case being built. The morning sun begins to illuminate Santa Rosa as final preparations conclude. Catherine's team moves with practiced efficiency, each person focused on their assigned tasks. Equipment checked one last time, positions verified, communications confirmed, everything ready for what's coming. Phase 4 implementation authorized scrolls across her screen. Years of planning and preparation have led to this moment. The cartel's aggressive response playing perfectly into her strategy. Their every move documented, their every action recorded, their every resource commitment noted. Through secure channels, she sends her final updates. The operations pieces are all in place. Federal response teams ready, evidence collection systems active, tactical positions secured, everything prepared for the confrontation that will expose not just a criminal operation, but an entire network of corruption. The cartel's attack begins at precisely 2:17 a.m., their timing chosen to catch the last stand at its most vulnerable. Multiple teams breaching simultaneously from different angles, their coordination showing professional training. But Catherine Martinez has been waiting for this moment, her years of CIA experience evident in every countermeasure that springs to life. Contact front. Tom's voice carries through secured channels as the first explosion rocks the building's reinforced walls. The cartel's breach teams discover too late that the last stand's rustic exterior conceals military-grade armor. There, shaped charges designed to blow through standard construction barely scratch the hidden defensive layers. Catherine's fingers dance across her command center's controls, activating prepared responses. Tactical lights flood the perimeter, disrupting night vision equipment. Sonic deterrents activate at frequencies that disorient without revealing their presence. Every defensive measure carefully calculated to maintain the element of surprise. Multiple teams, professional gear, Maria reports from her observation post. Through surveillance feeds, Catherine tracks the attackers' movements. Former Special Forces operators, their tactics revealing advanced training. But her preparations are designed by someone with decades more experience in covert operations. The first team breaches the front entrance, expecting an ordinary saloon interior. Instead, they find themselves in a carefully designed tactical funnel. Hidden barriers channel their movement, concealed sensors track their positions. Automated systems record their every action. Years of CIA operations culminating in this moment. Asset confirmation required, her system prompts as Catherine triggers. The next phase. The last stand's interior transforms, previously concealed defensive positions revealing themselves. Her staff moves with practiced efficiency, each person knowing their role in the carefully choreographed response. South team neutralized, Tom reports. Catherine watches through security feeds as her protective detail implements their training. Non-lethal takedowns executed with professional precision. Each attacker detained, disarmed, and documented, adding more evidence to the case being built against their organization. The cartel's command element, monitoring from their vehicles outside, realizes something is wrong. Their tactical teams aren't reporting success. Their communications are being disrupted. Their carefully planned operation is falling apart, but they don't understand how a simple saloon owner could offer such sophisticated resistance. Package Sierra shows reinforcement deployment, scrolls, across Catherine's screen. Through satellite imagery, she tracks additional cartel forces moving into position. Their response is predictable: commit more resources, increase pressure, overwhelm resistance through superior numbers, exactly as she planned. The second wave hits from multiple angles, using specialized equipment designed for hard target. Breaching. But the last stand's defenses are built from Catherine's experience with just such tactics. Each attack meets prepared countermeasures, each breach attempt recorded and documented. West Sector contained, Maria updates as another team is neutralized. Catherine's defensive strategy proves devastatingly effective. The cartel's operators find their tactical advantages negated, their professional training countered by superior experience, their every move anticipated and prepared for. Through her command center's feeds, Catherine monitors the broader operation. Federal response teams moving into position, using the chaos to surround cartel command elements. Surveillance. Systems documenting every aspect of the attack. Evidence collection protocols, capturing proof of their organizational capabilities. HVT movement detected, her system alerts. Cartel leadership, realizing their operation is compromised, attempts to retreat. But Catherine's planning extends beyond the last stand. Every escape route monitored, every fallback position identified, every extraction plan anticipated. The third wave never materializes. Instead, cartel commanders find their tactical teams cut off, their communications jammed, their retreat routes blocked. The operation they planned to overwhelm a simple business owner has become a trap, sprung by someone with far more experience in covert warfare. Phase 4 completion confirmed, Catherine reports through secure channels. The last stand's defenses have proven more than adequate, her staff's training more than sufficient, her planning more than comprehensive. Every aspect of the cartel's attack documented, every piece of evidence secured. Through surveillance feeds, she watches federal teams move in. Cartel commanders caught attempting to flee. Tactical teams surrounded and contained. Support elements identified and neutralized. Years of preparation paying off as the entire operation comes apart. Asset Charlie reports financial tracking complete, scrolls another update. Catherine's operation isn't just about repelling an attack. It's about documenting every aspect of the cartel's capabilities. Their equipment, their training, their organizational structure, all now part of the evidence being compiled. The confrontation ends as precisely as it began, but with very different results than the cartel planned. Their tactical teams neutralized, their leadership captured, their operation completely compromised, and at the center of it all, a simple saloon owner, whose CIA training proved more than equal to their best efforts. Final containment confirmed, Tom reports as the last resistance ends. Catherine begins implementing cleanup protocols, her team moving with practiced efficiency to secure evidence and process detainees. The last stand's transformation from tactical operations sent her back to simple saloon already beginning. Through secure channels, she sends her final battle assessment. The cartel's attack has provided exactly the evidence needed, proof of their capabilities, documentation of their resources, confirmation of their organizational structure. Every aspect of their operation now part of the case being built against them. The first rays of sunrise illuminate a transformed Santa Rosa. Federal vehicles line the streets around the last stand, their lights painting the morning in red and blue. Catherine Martinez watches from her command center as multiple agencies process the aftermath of the night's operation. DEA teams cataloging seized equipment, FBI agents interviewing detained cartel operators, state police securing multiple scenes across town. Asset confirmation required, her system prompts. Status of evidence collection? Catherine's fingers move across the keyboard, updating her handlers about the operation's results. 23 cartel operators captured, multiple high-value targets in custody, significant intelligence gathered about their organizational structure and capabilities. Through surveillance feeds, she monitors various aspects of the cleanup operation. Tactical teams documenting the sophisticated equipment used in the attack. Intelligence officers analyzing captured communications devices. Evidence technicians processing multiple scenes. Every detail adding to the case being built against the cartel's entire network. Package Sierra shows significant disruption, scrolls across her screen. Reports flood in from across the region, cartel safe houses being abandoned, operations suddenly suspended, assets hastily relocated. The organization's response to their failed attack revealing even more about their infrastructure and resources. Officer Ramirez arrives early, his official statement taking hours to record. His careful documentation of suspicious activities in the days leading up to the attack adds another layer to the evidence. Local law enforcement's observations proving crucial to establishing the cartel's pattern of operation. Tom, initiate Protocol Golf, Catherine orders, beginning the last stand's return to normal appearance. Her team moves with practiced efficiency, concealing defensive measures, storing tactical equipment, erasing signs of the night's conflict. Years of training evident in how quickly they restore the saloon's ordinary facade. Through secure channels, she monitors the broader impact. Federal agencies coordinating multiple raids across the state. Financial investigators freezing suspicious accounts. Intelligence teams tracking scattered cartel elements. The failed attack on the last stand triggering a cascade of operations against the organization. Asset Bravo reports increased activity at monitoring stations, another update reports. Catherine tracks the cartel's desperate attempts to contain the situation, emergency meetings being called, resources being moved, operations being suspended, every reaction providing more intelligence about their organizational structure. Maria coordinates with federal evidence teams. Her former Mossad training evident in her precise documentation. Each piece of captured equipment, each recovered document, each seized communication device carefully processed and logged. Nothing left to chance, no detail overlooked. Phase 5 implementation authorized scrolls across Catherine's screen. The operation's next stage begins as federal agencies expand their investigation. Corrupted officials identified during surveillance now under scrutiny. Business fronts used by the cartel facing audit. Financial networks being traced and exposed. Through her command center's feeds, she monitors multiple debriefings. Captured cartel operators revealing organizational details. Seized documents providing operational intelligence. Recovered communications equipment yielding valuable data, each source adding to the comprehensive case being built. Multiple HVTs in custody, her system updates. Senior cartel leaders caught. In the failed attack face, federal charges. Their presence at the operation proving crucial to establishing the organization's command structure. Years of careful intelligence gathering paying off in multiple prosecutions. The morning progresses as Catherine maintains her cover role. Regular customers finding the last stand closed for renovation after a small kitchen fire. Local media reporting on a multi-agency law enforcement operation. Every aspect of the aftermath carefully managed to protect operational security. Asset Charlie confirms financial tracking complete. Another report scrolls past. The evidence gathered extends far beyond the physical attack. Money trails documented, corporate structures exposed, political connections revealed. A comprehensive picture of the cartel's entire operation emerging from years of patient investigation. Through surveillance feeds, she watches federal teams discover more evidence across Santa Rosa, safe houses yielding documentation, storage facilities containing equipment, front businesses hiding financial records. Each location adding another piece to the puzzle she's helped assemble. Tom, verify Protocol Hotel, she orders, initiating final security sweeps. Her team methodically checks the last stand for any overlooked evidence or remaining threats. Professional thoroughness evident in every aspect of their operation, leaving nothing to chance. The morning sun climbs higher as Catherine reviews preliminary reports. The attack on the last stand has provided exactly the evidence needed to justify broader action against the cartel. Their sophisticated equipment proving organizational capabilities, their tactical coordination demonstrating professional training, their resource commitment revealing operational scope. Phase 5 confirmation required, her system prompts. Catherine updates her handlers about the operation's progress. The cartel's failed attack has triggered multiple investigations, each exposing more of their network. Years of patient intelligence gathering culminating in comprehensive action against the organization. Through secure channels, she monitors the expanding operation, federal teams moving against identified targets across the region. Intelligence agencies coordinating international responses, law enforcement implementing long-prepared arrest warrants, the failed attack on the last stand becoming the key that unlocks multiple investigations. 1 week after the confrontation, at the last stand, Catherine Martinez monitors the operation's expanding impact through her command center's feeds. Across 3 states, federal agencies execute coordinated raids on cartel operations. Bank accounts freeze, shell companies collapse, political alliances crumble. The evidence gathered during the attack providing the foundation for widespread action against the organization. Asset confirmation required, her system prompts. Status of network disruption. Catherine's response details the cascade of operations triggered by that single night. 37 high-level arrests, 12 corrupt officials exposed, multiple smuggling routes compromised, years of patient intelligence gathering paying off in waves of law enforcement action. Through secure channels, she tracks the broader implications. International law enforcement agencies launching parallel investigations. Financial institutions flagging suspicious accounts, intelligence services identifying connected operations. The cartel's failed attack on the last stand has become the key that unlocks investigations across multiple countries. Package Sierra shows critical disruption, scrolls across her screen. Reports flood in about the cartel's desperate attempts to maintain control. Emergency meetings betraying new locations, hasty relocations revealing additional assets, panicked communications exposing more of their network, every reaction providing new intelligence for law enforcement. Maria coordinates with federal teams, helping process the mountain of evidence gathered, documents seized from raided locations, data recovered from captured devices. Financial records obtained through search warrants, each piece adding to the comprehensive case being built against the organization's entire structure. Tom, implement Protocol India, Catherine orders, beginning the next phase of their operation. Her team transitions smoothly from defensive operations to intelligence support, their training evident in how efficiently they assist federal agencies, while maintaining the last stand's cover as a simple business. Through surveillance feeds, she monitors multiple operations across the region, safe houses being raided, front businesses facing investigation, transportation networks being dismantled, the intelligence gathered during years of patient observation, now guiding law enforcement actions across multiple jurisdictions. Asset Bravo reports significant financial impact, another update reports. Catherine tracks the economic ripples spreading through criminal networks. Money laundering operations shutting down, investment schemes collapsing, property holdings being seized, the cartel's financial infrastructure crumbling under coordinated pressure. Officer Ramirez provides updates about local implications. Corrupt officials suddenly retiring, criminal enterprises quickly relocating, suspicious businesses abruptly closing. The power vacuum created by the cartel's disruption revealing even more about the region's criminal landscape. Phase 6, implementation authorized, scrolls across her screen. The operation enters its final stages as federal agencies expand their investigation scope. International connections being exposed, political corruption being documented, corporate involvement being revealed. Each discovery leading to new investigations. Through her command center's feeds, she monitors global reactions, Mexican authorities launching parallel operations, European financial investigators tracking money trails, Asian law enforcement identifying connected organizations. The evidence gathered at the last stand, triggering investigations worldwide. Multiple jurisdictions reporting major arrests, her system updates. Law enforcement agencies across 3 continents coordinate operations. Criminal networks connected to the cartel face sudden pressure. Long-running investigations find crucial missing evidence. Years of Catherine's patient intelligence gathering, enabling comprehensive action. The week continues as the impact spreads. News media reporting on unprecedented law enforcement success. Political commentators discussing systematic corruption, exposure. Financial analysts noting suspicious market activities. Every aspect of the aftermath carefully managed to protect ongoing operations. Asset Charlie confirms international coordination. Another report scrolls past. The evidence gathered extends far beyond regional operations. Global smuggling routes identified. International money laundering exposed. Multinational criminal connections revealed. A comprehensive picture of organized crime emerging from years of patient investigation. Through surveillance feeds, she watches the cartel's influence crumble. Corrupt politicians distancing themselves, criminal allies, severing connections, support networks dissolving. Each reaction providing more intelligence about their organizational structure and capabilities. Tom, verify Protocol Juliet, she orders, initiating new surveillance operations. Her team adapts smoothly to changing priorities, monitoring the power vacuum left by the cartel's disruption. Professional thoroughness evident in how they track emerging threats and opportunities. The operation's success brings new challenges. Other criminal organizations attempting to claim abandoned territory. Corrupt officials seeking new alliances. Displaced operations looking for new bases. Catherine's team monitoring each development, ensuring the cartel's collapse doesn't simply create space for new threats. Phase 6 confirmation required, her system prompts. Catherine updates her handlers about the operation's expanding impact. The cartel's disruption has triggered a cascade of investigations and operations, each exposing more of the criminal landscape. Years of patient intelligence gathering continuing to pay dividends. Through secure channels, she monitors the ongoing transformation. Federal agencies implementing long-term strategies. Intelligence services developing new targets. Law enforcement establishing permanent task forces. The failed attack on the last stand becoming a template for future operations against organized crime. 1 month after the confrontation that changed Santa Rosa forever, the last stand shows no obvious signs of its role in dismantling an international criminal organization. Catherine Martinez maintains her cover as she serves drinks and manages the daily operations of her saloon. But her trained eyes never stop watching, evaluating, protecting. Asset confirmation required, her system prompts during a quiet afternoon. Status of regional stabilization. Catherine's response details the transformation of Santa Rosa's criminal landscape. The cartel's influence eliminated, corrupt networks dismantled, smuggling routes permanently disrupted, a new era of security emerging from years of patient work. Through her sophisticated surveillance network, she monitors the town's recovery, legitimate businesses flourishing in spaces once controlled by criminal enterprises. Local law enforcement operating free from corruption, community leaders addressing long-ignored problems. The the shadow of cartel influence lifting to reveal a stronger community. Package Sierra shows complete disruption, scrolls across her screen. Intelligence reports confirm the operation's success. Cartel leadership facing federal prosecution. Financial networks completely dismantled. International connections severed. The organization that once seemed invincible now serves as a case study in successful law enforcement operations. Maria coordinates the transition of their operation. Surveillance systems repurposed for general security. Intelligence gathering focused on preventing new threats. Defensive capabilities maintained but adapted for longer-term protection. The last stand evolving from tactical operations center to strategic monitoring post. Tom, implement protocol. Kilo, Catherine orders, beginning their new operational phase. Her team smoothly adjusts to changed priorities. Training programs updated for emerging threats. Security protocols modified for sustainable operations. The lessons learned from confronting the cartel now informing long-term defensive strategies. Through secure channels, she monitors broader changes. Federal agencies establishing permanent task forces based on their operations' success. Law enforcement developing new strategies for combating organized crime. Intelligence services adapting their methods based on lessons learned at the last stand. Asset Bravo reports significant community improvement, another update notes. Catherine tracks positive changes throughout Santa Rosa, economic growth in previously struggling areas, increased cooperation between citizens and law enforcement, stronger community organizations emerging, the town transforming as it emerges from the cartel's shadow. Officer Ramirez stops by more frequently now, their conversations carrying new meaning. Local police implementing improved training programs, community outreach efforts expanding, security partnerships strengthening, the successful operation against the cartel creating opportunities for positive change. Phase 7 implementation authorized, scrolls across her screen. The operation enters its sustainable phase as federal agencies establish permanent presence in the region. Long-term monitoring systems activated. Prevention strategies implemented. Security networks strengthened. Each measure designed to prevent criminal organizations from regaining influence. Through her command center's feeds, she watches Santa Rosa's evolution, new businesses opening in previously dangerous areas, community events drawing larger crowds, public spaces being reclaimed and improved. The town's character emerging stronger after throwing off the cartel's influence. Multiple jurisdictions reporting sustained improvement. Her system updates. The impact of their operation continues spreading. Criminal organizations thinking twice before moving into cleared areas, corrupt officials finding no safe haven, smuggling routes remaining compromised. Years of patient work creating lasting change. The last stand itself transforms while maintaining its essential character. Regular customers still gather for drinks and conversation. Local events still fill the calendar. Community meetings still happen around well-worn tables, but beneath this normal exterior, sophisticated security systems remain vigilant. Asset Charlie confirms regional stability, another report indicates. The changes extend beyond Santa Rosa. Neighboring communities implementing successful security measures, regional law enforcement cooperation improving. Cross-jurisdictional operations becoming more effective, a model for successful community transformation emerging. Through surveillance feeds, she monitors the new normal, legitimate business activities replacing criminal operations, community, leaders addressing long-standing issues, law enforcement maintaining strong community connections, each positive change reinforcing the success of their operation. Tom, verify Protocol Lima, she orders, adjusting their security posture. Her team adapts to evolved threats and opportunities. Training programs updated for changing conditions. Surveillance systems modified for long-term operation. Professional thoroughness evident in how they maintain security while supporting community growth. The last stand's role evolves with the community. Still a gathering place, still a community. Anchor, but now also a subtle guardian. Catherine's team maintaining vigilance while supporting positive changes. Their experience and capabilities ensuring the hard-won peace remains protected. Phase 7 confirmation required, her system prompts. Catherine updates her handlers about the operation's lasting impact. The cartel's destruction has created space for positive community growth, each improvement making it harder for criminal organizations to regain influence. Years of patient work yielding sustainable results. Through secure channels, she monitors ongoing transformations, federal agencies implementing lessons learned from their operation, law enforcement developing new community-based strategies, intelligence services adapting their methods for long-term effectiveness, the success at Santa Rosa becoming a template for future operations. 6 months after the night that transformed Santa Rosa, Catherine Martinez stands at the last stand's windows, watching the sunset paint the sky in shades of gold and crimson. Her trained eyes still scan for threats, her operational instincts never truly dormant, but there's a different quality to her vigilance now. Less immediate urgency, more strategic oversight. Asset confirmation required, her system prompts. Status of operational transition. Catherine's response details how the last stand has evolved. No longer just a defensive position, it's become a model for community-based security operations. Federal agencies studying their methods, law enforcement adapting their strategies, intelligence services learning from their success. Through sophisticated surveillance systems, she monitors the lasting changes in Santa Rosa. Where cartel surveillance, vehicles once prowled, families now walk freely. Former safe houses converted to community centers. Smuggling routes transformed into legitimate trading paths. The town's transformation exceeding even her carefully planned expectations. Package Sierra shows permanent disruption, scrolls across. Her screen, intelligence reports confirm what she sees daily. No signs of cartel activity returning, criminal networks permanently displaced, corrupt influences thoroughly eliminated, the operation's success creating a blueprint for similar transformations. Across the region, Maria joins her at the window, their shared experience evident in how they both automatically note defensive positions, escape routes, surveillance angles. But their conversation focuses on community events, local improvements, positive changes, professional vigilance balanced with genuine investment in the town's future. Tom, implement Protocol Mike, Catherine orders, initiating another phase of their evolution. Her team adapts smoothly, their training now focused on preventing threats rather than just responding to them. Security systems upgraded for sustainable operation. Surveillance networks optimized for long-term monitoring, each change reflecting lessons learned from their success. Through secure channels, she reviews broader impacts, other communities implementing similar programs, law enforcement agencies developing new community-based strategies, intelligence services adapting their methods based on the last stand's example, their operation becoming a case study in successful community transformation. Asset Bravo reports. Sustained community engagement, another update notes. Catherine tracks the positive changes throughout Santa Rosa. New businesses thriving in previously dangerous areas, community organizations growing stronger. Citizen law enforcement cooperation reaching new levels, each improvement making the town more resistant to criminal influence. Officer Ramirez stops by, their conversation reflecting new realities. Local police implementing proactive programs. Community trust in law enforcement strengthening. Security partnerships expanding. The successful operation against the cartel, creating a foundation for lasting positive change. Phase 8 implementation authorized. Scrolls across her screen. The operation enters its legacy phase as federal agencies codify lessons learned. Training programs developed based on their experience. Security protocols standardized from their methods. Each element of their success being analyzed and adapted for broader application. Through her command center's feeds, she monitors Santa Rosa's continued evolution. Community events drawing record participation. Public spaces being expanded and improved. Local businesses reporting unprecedented growth. The town's character growing stronger as it builds on its newfound freedom from cartel influence. Multiple jurisdictions implementing derived protocols, her system updates. The impact of their operation continues spreading. Other communities adopting their security measures. Regional law enforcement incorporating their methods. Cross-jurisdictional cooperation improving based on their example. Their success creating ripples of positive change. The last stand itself stands as a symbol of transformation. Still a gathering place for the community, still a focal point for local life, but now also a quiet guardian of hard-won peace. Sophisticated. Security systems hidden behind rustic charm. Professional vigilance masked by genuine hospitality. Each aspect of its operation refined and perfected. Asset Charlie confirms methodology adoption, another report indicates. The changes extend far beyond Santa Rosa law enforcement agencies nationwide studying their operation. Intelligence services adapting their methods. Federal agencies developing new strategies based on their success. A new approach to community security emerging from their experience. Through surveillance feeds, she monitors the new patterns of life in Santa Rosa. Legitimate businesses expanding into previously dangerous areas. Community leaders implementing long-term improvements, law enforcement maintaining strong public connections, each positive change reinforcing and building upon their success. Tom, verify protocol November, she orders, adjusting their operations for the future. Her team continues evolving, their experience informing new approaches to community security. Training programs updated for emerging challenges. Surveillance systems modified for changing conditions. Professional excellence maintained while supporting community growth. The Last Stand's role continues to evolve with the community. A gathering place that brings people together, a business that supports local growth, and a subtle guardian that ensures hard-won peace remains protected. Catherine's team maintaining their vigilance while fostering positive change. Phase 8, confirmation required. Her system prompts. Catherine updates her handlers about the operation's lasting legacy. The cartel's destruction has created opportunities for positive transformation, each improvement making communities stronger against criminal influence. Years of patient work yielding results that continue to grow and spread. Through secure channels, she monitors ongoing developments. Federal agencies implementing standardized versions of their methods, law enforcement developing new community-based training, intelligence services adapting their operations based on lessons learned. The success at Santa Rosa becoming a model for future community transformation. 1 year after the night that changed everything, Catherine Martinez stands behind The Last Stand's bar, serving drinks and trading stories with her regular customers. To casual observers, she appears to be exactly what she seems, a successful small-town business owner who's made her establishment the heart of the community. But her trained eyes never stop watching, her operational instincts never fully. Retire. Asset confirmation required, her system prompts during a quiet moment. Status of legacy implementation? Catherine's response details the lasting impact of their operation. The Last Stand has become more than just a successful mission. It's created a new model for community-based security operations that continues to spread across the country. Through her sophisticated surveillance network, she monitors Santa Rosa's transformation. The town has become a case study in community renewal. Where cartel violence once ruled, families now gather freely. Former criminal territories transformed into thriving business districts, the shadow of corruption replaced by transparent governance. Package Sierra shows complete neutralization, scrolls across her screen. Final intelligence reports confirm what she sees every day. The cartel's influence permanently eliminated, criminal networks thoroughly displaced, corrupt systems completely dismantled, their operations' success creating a template for similar transformations nationwide. Maria approaches with their morning coffee, their shared glance carrying years of operational understanding. They've both seen how communities can be transformed when the right people take a stand. Their conversation moves easily between security, updates and local events, professional vigilance balanced with genuine community involvement. Tom, implement Protocol Oscar, Catherine orders, initiating the final phase of their evolution. Her team transitions smoothly, their roles now focused on maintaining peace rather than just fighting threats. Security systems optimized for long-term stability. Surveillance networks adapted for community protection, each aspect of their operation refined to perfection. Through secure channels, she reviews the broader impact of their success. Federal agencies have standardized many of their methods. Law enforcement organizations study their community-based approach. Intelligence services adapt their operations based on the last stand's example, their experience becoming a blueprint for positive change. Asset Bravo reports sustained transformation, another update notes. Catherine tracks the ongoing improvements. Throughout Santa Rosa, new businesses continue to open and thrive. Community organizations grow stronger each day. Citizen law enforcement partnerships reach new levels of effectiveness, each positive change building on their success. Officer Ramirez, now Chief Ramirez, stops by for his usual coffee. Their conversation reflects how far things have come. Local police implementing proactive community programs, public trust in law enforcement at record levels, security partnerships expanding beyond original goals, the successful operation against the cartel creating endless ripples of positive change. Final phase implementation confirmed, scrolls across her screen. The operation enters its permanent status as federal agencies codify their methods into standard procedures. Training programs based on their experience being implemented nationwide. Security protocols derived from their success becoming standard. Practice, their local victory transforming into national policy. Through her command center's feeds, she monitors Santa Rosa's continued evolution. Community events draw people from across the region. Public spaces thrive with activity. Local businesses report record growth. The town's character grows stronger. Each day, built on the foundation of security they helped create. Multiple jurisdictions report successful adaptation. Her system updates. The impact of their operation continues spreading. Other communities successfully implementing their methods. Regional law enforcement achieving similar successes. Cross-jurisdictional cooperation reaching new levels of effectiveness. Their experience creating a wave of positive change. The last stand itself stands as testament to their success. Still a gathering place for the community, still the heart of local life, but now also a quiet guardian of hard-won peace. Sophisticated security systems hidden beneath rustic charm. Professional vigilance masked by genuine hospitality. Each aspect of its operation a perfect blend of mission and meaning. Asset. Charlie confirms methodology standardization, another report indicates. The changes extend far beyond Santa Rosa. Law enforcement agencies nationwide adopting their approach. Intelligence services implementing their methods. federal agencies developing new strategies based on their success. A revolution in community. Security spreading from their experience. Through surveillance feeds, she monitors the patterns of life they helped create. Legitimate businesses thriving in safe neighborhoods. Community leaders implementing positive changes. Law enforcement maintaining strong public connections. Each improvement building on and reinforcing their success. Tom. Verify protocol Papa. She orders, adjusting their operations one final time. Her team continues evolving, their experience informing new approaches to community security. Training programs updated for future challenges. Surveillance systems modified for changing needs. Professional excellence maintained while supporting community growth. The Last Stand's role has evolved with the community it serves. A gathering, place that brings people together. A business that supports local growth and a subtle guardian that ensures peace remains protected. Catherine's team maintaining their vigilance while fostering positive change. Final status confirmation required. Her system prompts. Catherine updates her handlers about the operation's lasting impact. The cartel's destruction created opportunities for positive transformation that continue to grow and spread. Years of patient work yielding results that will influence communities for generations. Through secure channels, she monitors the legacy they've created. Federal agencies implementing standardized versions of their methods, law enforcement developing new community-based approaches, intelligence services adapting their operations based on lessons learned. The success at Santa Rosa becoming a model for future community transformation. As the sun sets on another day in Santa Rosa, Catherine Martinez continues her work behind the bar of The Last Stand. Her cover remains perfect, her vigilance never wavers, but now she serves a dual purpose, protecting the peace while helping build a stronger community. Some retirements, she's learned, are really just new beginnings. Up next, you've got two more standout stories right on your screen. If this one hit the mark, you won't want to pass these up. Just click and check them out. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any upload from us.